what's going on in anybody. She knew that I was crying out for help. That's all she knew. So she left the house, so I'm there by myself. But I've got the phone call and I'm waiting on my brother-in-law. I've got my bags packed, I got my Bible in my bag, and I got a few pieces of clothing. And he shows up at my door. And at that time, all I could do was weep, because I felt the Holy Spirit on me, and I knew who was in charge of that day. I knew what was going on. But my brother-in-law put me in the car, and my sister rode with us. She met me at our house. So we all three headed back to Monroe. They got me back to Monroe. They took me in. They filled out the necessary paperwork. And within 3 or 4 hours, I was signed up for a 30-day in-house rehabilitation center. And, you know, for some people that might seem kind of, you know, I hate that, but trust me, I was thanking God for being able to go there. Because if I knew if it wasn't there, it was going to be a grave site where people was going to come and see me. So we got me checked in and everything, and everybody left. And so here I am sitting in the middle of a rehab center, thinking, how in the world did I get here? My world just came crashing down. But I was out of civilization. I was on my own then. I was out of the clique. I couldn't get to nobody. And that's where I needed to be. I needed to be isolated. I needed to be out of the world. And I was introduced to counselors, and I was introduced to a lot of different people in rehabilitation. And I listened to a lot of interesting, maybe horror stories for some people, but I listened to what they said, and that was all the advice that anybody could give me was open your ears, shut your mouth and open your ears and listen to what they're telling you. Because what they're going to tell you is going to work if you apply it. So I started my little 30-day in-house program, and that was a tremendous little ride for me. When I got in rehabilitation, I heard the people around me, there was probably, I think 25 people maybe, that was in that facility at one time. And sometimes there were women there too. But sometimes we would have a counselor meeting where everybody would be together. Everybody would be in one room. And you'd hear a lot of different things, you know, from the women's side and the men's side. And I knew a little bit about AA and Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, but you know, I always heard them say about a higher power. And when I got in there, they started talking about this higher power, that I needed a higher power. And a lot of people struggled with it that was in there, but I didn't have any problem struggling with that. And they would ask me, say, well, you know, what is your higher power? Some of the people that were in there with me would ask me, you know, what's your higher power? I said, my higher power is Jesus Christ. I said, he intervened in my life, and that's why I'm here today. It's because he intervened in my life. He'll tell me what I need, and he's going to give me what I need to get out of here and live a life that will be normal. And all that counseling and everything else, it was a blessing for me, because it gave me tools that I didn't have on how to handle myself, how to do things the way that I needed to do them. You know, changing my lifestyle, changing people, places, and things, getting away from people that I didn't need to be around. Letting me know that the lifestyle that I chose was my choice. And I had to choose a different lifestyle when I got out of there. So, needless to say, First Step Rehabilitation Center was where God put me, and that's where I needed to be. And I stayed in the rehabilitation center up until, my sobriety date is December the 6th of 2000. And while I was sitting in rehabilitation, here I am, I'm spending Christmas in rehabilitation and New Year's. two toughest times of the year that you want to be with your family and you want to be around your family and you miss your family. And man, my heart was breaking because I had spent all that time in there up until that time. You know, December 25th was here. I had played by the rules and I had done what they'd asked me to do and sitting there and thinking about it all. And I thought, well, I think I've got it. I'm ready to go home. And my counselors heard about it. They heard me making comments. They came to me. They said, James, you can't go home. I said, don't tell me I can't go home. I said, all I got to do is pack my bags up and walk out the door. Because they couldn't stop me. But they insisted that I didn't need to go home. And at first I was very angry about that choice. I didn't understand it. And I went back to my room and I opened my Bible and I started praying. And I said, God, I said, you've touched my heart. And I believe what you're telling me. But I said, I'm cured now. I said, I'm ready to go out and apply it in life, you know. I said, I'm okay. And something came over me one time before that said, be still and wait. Just be still and wait. And so I started talking to my counselors more, and they of course addressed me because they felt like there was a need there that I was going to turn and run right here the last few days of my stay. They said, James, I had a woman counselor sit me down. She said, James, she said, I want you to understand that the reason why we're telling you not to leave is not for you. The reason why we're telling you not to leave is what you got here when somebody else was ready to leave. She said, you're a blessing. And she said, I know for a fact that God's touched your heart. And I believe you when you say you're going to stay clean and sober. But she said, you need to be here when the other people walk in the door. And you need to talk to them when they get here on day 1 and day 2, day 3 of their stay. She said, you need to be the in-house counselor. And that's the way the program works. You know, you don't walk out right at the end. You know, it's kind of like the veterans of the people that's there. You know, you give them good advice about what you've learned while you're there. And you talk about the things that they've taught you. Because people come in there angry. Some people come in because they were forced to be there. And so I finally got it. And I said, God, this is kind of like what you want me to do in my life. You know, I feel like this is where you're taking me. You know, I need to slow my roll a little bit. Quit trying to be in a hurry to get out of here. And instead tell people what God's done for you while you're here. Testify in front of them. It don't matter whether you're in a church or not. Tell them what God done for you while you're in this rehab center. Because you sat in your room at night reading your Bible. And you gave me the honor and the glory and the praise for it. So I finally came to the realization that I wasn't supposed to leave. And I did the rest of my few days that I had left, and I came home. And that was on my sobriety date was 2006 and of 2000, and of course it turned 2001, and to this day I'm clean and sober. And that's 10 years. But I remember when I went in the first step, like I said, I had a brother-in-law that was a physician. He was a gynecologist, but he was a very intelligent man who studied medicine quite a bit, just to be in the gynecology field. And I thought a lot about his opinion about things as far as medical and stuff like that. And I asked him, I said, Jimmy, I said, what do you think? What do you think about this place that I'm in? What kind of advice could you give me? And he said, well, James, he said, Jeff, that's what he used to call me. He said, you got to treat this just as if you were sick coming into the doctor's office. He said, they've diagnosed you. You know what you got now. He said, you've got an addiction to drugs and alcohol that you couldn't kick on you on. He said, they're going to prescribe you the things that you need. They're going to give you the tools for your prescription that you need. And he said, when they send you home, you've got to apply them just like you were eating Pebbles. He said, you've got to do what they tell you to do or it's not going to work. It's all going to be in vain if you don't do what they tell you to do. And so that's what led me to today. That's what's led me to this point in my life. Is I slowed down enough to listen to what they were saying to me and come home and apply the things that they taught me and gave me in rehabilitation. And of course, not forgetting the fact that the Lord touched me in many different ways while I was in rehabilitation. He opened the door for me to talk to people, testify to people. They used to call me the preacher before I got out of there because I wouldn't talk about anything but the way that God treated me and what God done for me. And they wanted to lay out all this other stuff. I said, nah, it might be that way for you, but it ain't that way for me. Jesus Christ saved me. And, so anyway, that's basically my testimony of where I was at, where I'm at today. And I thank God for this church, and I thank everybody that attends this church, and is members of this church, for giving me the opportunity to play my drums. That's my passion. That's the talent that God gave me. I've never been taught music to play the drums. I couldn't read a drum note if I had to. But it's like I told the pastor, I said, I can listen to a couple bars of a song and I can play it. And I can't explain to you how I can play it, but I can play it. And you can't leave God's talents, or you'll lose them. And I had an old friend of mine that went to church, Joel Cocker, sings over at Chapel Road Church. Many years ago, they didn't have a drummer at that church. He told me, he said, Jeff, that's what he called me. He said, I know you used to play drums when you was a kid. And he said, how about getting up here and playing this set for us for a little bit? So he got me back into the little drumming thing. And of course, we done that for a while, and I did some different things and everything else. But as the years has gone by, I won't leave the drums alone because I don't want to lose the talent that God gave me. And I just want to sharpen it and play God's music, play God's praise, and give Him the honor and the glory for saving my life and allowing me to have the talent to praise His holy name. And I thank Him. But that's all I can tell you. I appreciate all your prayers and assistance that you've given me and my wife. And, we got to go through the valleys to appreciate it. And we've had our share here lately. Neither one of us is employed, and we took every penny that we've had to get our house out of foreclosure. And I've had struggles with that. And I'll be honest with you, my faith's been weak at times over the whole situation. But this church and the people in it has given me enough support that I can't let go of the fact that God's got control of my life, and He's got control of these financial problems that I'm in. And I'm through sobbing and crying about how I'm going to do this and how I'm going to do that. And I'm more interested in finding out what's going to happen to me next, because I know it's going to be good.
Praise the Lord.
What a testimony. You think about that. Look at it. There's a couple of things that I noticed as he was talking. Number one, God never turned His back on me. We have our own problems. We have our own kids. And some of them are going through some of the same things that he went through. God never turned His back on him. And number one, He never forgot where he came from. I thought about that scripture where it says, train a child up, and He never turned. So people, I want to tell you something. You've got kids, they're not living for the Lord, don't give up. Continue to pray. Sister Ruth, God's heard that prayer for your daughter. He knows the problems she has. I believe He's going to take care of it. But I think about March 27th, I just turned 65 here the other week. Last week, I guess it